But he needs to do something here. He needs to counter, he needs to flank or something to take down those units. And Oversky resummoning all his reinforcements because Nalra has just wreaked havoc through Oversky's main. Luckily for Oversky, his hive and most of his tech is at the top left at the top right corner. Oversky now using Defiers. He's going in with everything he's got. Nalra, I think Nalra has got too much. I don't think Oversky has got enough to be able to take this. Nalra's firepower just too much for him, and now Oversky really in trouble here. And Nalra really delivering the knockout blow on the back foot for most of this game. Oversky defending successfully so far, but he allowed Nalra to build up this force. That is unfortunately the problem. If you don't pressure the Protoss at all, you allow them to get that tech lead, and with that tech, Protoss can be lethal versus Zerg, and Oversky in a little bit of trouble here, though we have seen Zerg players survive this sort of strategy, Reaver Corsair, but Nalra obviously not having Corsairs, he's concentrating primarily on Reavers and ground forces, and that Defiler might be critical if Nalra manages to take that down before it survives. The Defiler gets through, the Defiler manages to go back, but he hasn't cast anything with it yet. That Defiler just survived, and that might prove critical in the equation, and Oversky's going to lose all his tech here unless he does something soon. 4 Reavers with about 6 Archons and about 10 Zealots, and Oversky is losing his tech buildings. He's already lost his he's already lost his evolution chambers. His hive now is going to get taken down, and now finally Oversky forced to defend. Oversky forced to fight. He's trying to get a flank around towards those Reavers. Nalra doing an excellent job of repositioning his forces, not allowing Oversky to do that, and Oversky is going to lose his hive. He's going to lose those evolution chambers, and that's going to cost him big time. That's going to hurt him hugely. Oversky unable to defend. Nalra just powers through with the crack force of elite units, and Nalra, meanwhile, with his showing some great micro with a drop, with the Templar drop at the base, at the 5 o'clock position, but that's not going to really hurt Oversky too much. That storm, oh my god! Bad luck for Oversky, about 5 drones pop. Another storm goes off, oh my god, Nalra is wrecking havoc here. Nalra going on the offensive. Nalra taking out shitloads of drones. Sorry for cursing, guys. Nalra taking down a huge amount of Oversky's drones, and Nalra really laying on the magic at all fronts. KTF Magic NS. Nalra dropping at the 5 o'clock expansion as well as the 6 o'clock base, hurting Oversky's economy. About 5 drones got taken out at the 5 o'clock base just as they popped, and another massive drones at the 6 o'clock base taking out. Oversky's economy taking a real hit, and Nalra delivering a 1-2 punch right to Oversky's chin, and Oversky is reeling against the ropes, and I'm not sure if he's going to be able to stand up and come back here against Nalra. You would have to have felt that Oversky was in the strongest position he was going to be in the game before that attack, but now Nalra has just laid waste through Oversky's defenses as if they weren't there, as if he was just gliding through water with a sword, and Oversky in deep trouble here trying to defend against Nalra, and Nalra recuperating, getting up ready for another vicious attack, this time going for the 6 o'clock base with those Reavers and that ground force combo, and I'm not sure what Oversky is going to be able to do here. He was unsuccessful in defending his main. He's lost all his tech, and he's in huge trouble now. He's resorted to lurkers, and I think that was probably the key there. If Oversky had a few more lurkers, I think he would have probably survived that attack, but he was a little bit overconfident, had primarily only Ultralists and Zerglings. He was obviously spending all his gas on Ultralists. He had no lurkers, and I think that's what made the difference in that attack. But the lack of lurkers is really what did Oversky in. But Nalra, you've got to say, Nalra in the dominant position now in this game. Oversky, though, still not completely out of it. He's still got 4 bases, even though he's lost 2. He's still got 4 bases, and that is the ability of the Zerg to replenish himself, and Oversky just maneuvering those drones back. Nalra's obviously seen them as they've gone right past Nalra's base, so Oversky protecting his drones. Oversky, even though he has taken a few storm hits in his base, has for the most part protected his economy from being completely ravaged by Nalra, and Nalra trying to intercept most of those drones as they go back, and Oversky's going to lay some lurkers down on that ramp in the middle of the map to halt Nalra's advance, and Nalra doesn't have any observers with that force, doesn't have any floating observers around in that area, and that's going to force Nalra to regroup. And Nalra has got an observer now with his main force. Nalra regrouping his forces. He's also got a High Templar for Storm, so Oversky in a little bit of trouble here, but Nalra, while he's been focusing strongly on attacking Oversky, the one thing that does bother me is that he hasn't really built up too many expansions of his own. Okay, he's put down a new one in the middle right of the map, in the bottom half of the map, so he has put down one new expansion, but he hasn't really expanded as much as he could have. I feel he could probably put down another expansion. I guess he doesn't feel the need to, but Oversky seems to have recovered, at least in economic terms, from that massive attack. I'm not sure how much he lost in tech, what technologies were in the middle of being researched by those evolution chambers. Those upgrades obviously lost for Oversky, and they're going to hurt him. So I'm sure his economy has recovered. He was probably forced to produce a few more drones after that attack, but I think by now Oversky's economy has recovered. Oversky really needs to do something. He needs to go on the aggressive here. He can't just allow Nalra to dictate the pace of this game, because he's fast being outplayed here. Oversky looking to drop that base, deciding against it, however, seeing that Nalra had a lot of defense. Nalra now going in. Nalra going in for that undefended expansion. That expansion is going to get taken down in quick time. That expansion is just going to get massacred. Oversky once again running away with his drones. He managed to save about four drones from that attack. And Nalra, Oversky countering. So Oversky allows Nalra into his base, and Oversky countering at Nalra's new expansion. Oversky realizing that Nalra is running low on resources. Oversky can afford to throw away expansion. Nalra, though, with brilliant defense. Storm goes off on a lot of Oversky's troops, but Oversky has enough surviving. Nalra with a couple of Reavers, but he doesn't have shuttles to reinforce, and Oversky really needs to focus his Reavers here with his troops. Oversky making massive mistake not focusing those Reavers, and it looks to me like Nalra's defense is going to hold. Oversky's only got a couple of Ultras, and those Ultras are not being microed by Oversky. So Oversky not microing his forces. Those Reavers managed to take out the remainder of Oversky's forces, and that expansion survives. And I think Oversky realized that Nalra doesn't really have any other expansions but for that one, and that's why he decided to focus on that expansion. But now he's going to be in trouble because he's expended a lot of his army on that attack. And Oversky with a plague goes off, and he manages to catch off all of Nalra's Zealots, and that's going to hurt Nalra. Oversky reinforcing his attack, Oversky resuming his attack against Nalra, and this time he is flanking those Reavers. This time he is microing his force, and he is focusing fire on those Reavers as he should have the last time around. And this time he is going to kill off that expansion, and this is going to give him some breathing space in the game, because even though Nalra has got an unstoppable force, he does not have the ability to reinforce it very quickly. If you just take a look around the map, Nalra is pretty much mined out in most of his expansions. Yes, he is mined out indeed. He's not going to be mining for some time now. Oversky still has those 3 expansions. He's got the expansion at the 5 o'clock position, at the 6 o'clock position, as well as at the 7 o'clock position, though I'm not sure how many minerals are left at 5 and 6 o'clock, since those expansions go pretty early. Another play goes off on a lot of those Archons, but that expansion is going to die down. His defenses once again crumble before Nalra's assault, and Nalra with that massive force that has been whittled down slightly by Oversky. I'm not sure what happened to his Reavers. He should have had another 4 Reavers with that force. I'm not sure if they're loaded up in shuttles now, but Oversky focusing on the counterattack, and this is what he really needed to do. He needs to put pressure. He can't just allow Nalra with those 2 shuttles now trying to take out those advancing units of Oversky. Oversky doesn't have any anti-air. Those shuttles also are reinforced from the photon cannons up on that hill, and really Oversky not able to successfully take down that Nexus. He did take out the photon cannons that were being built next to that Nexus, so that's going to slow Nalra down a little bit. And the problem here for Nalra is minerals, and I'd love to go into a first-person view mode of Nalra and see exactly how many resources he has left in this game, because he does have a very strong superior force on the ground. The question is how many minerals he has, and Nalra now finally resuming mining from that Nexus. He's brought all his probes in. He's got about 10 probes there, and I think Nalra is going to be content to sit and defend while he rebuilds a little bit, and that's going to give Oversky a little bit of breathing space as well. So Oversky losing another expansion to Nalra's assault, but he's still got 4 expansions. So Oversky, even though he's been on the defensive from the get-go, he has managed to maintain his defense. He's managed to maintain his economy at that level. Oversky now rebuilding that Zerg hive, rebuilding his tech, and Nalra doing a great job of killing off his tech, and really this game sits on a knife edge. Oversky doing the right thing just in the nick of time, taking down Nalra's economy. And again, as I said earlier, Nalra invested a little bit too much. Nalra invested mostly in his ground forces, didn't really keep his economy up to scratch, relying only on building 1 expansion at a time as his expansions blinked out, and that may very well be what has cost him a serious advantage in this game. And now Oversky going in with a massive drop. Nalra has anticipated a storm going off on those Overlords. All those Overlords going to get taken down. 1 Overlord goes down, filled with units. I think another Overlord got taken out. I'm not sure if it managed to drop in time, but Oversky is dropping Nalra's main. He's trying to cut off Nalra from producing reinforcements, and he's got swarm now over Nalra's buildings, over Nalra's gateways to fight against those Archons. Those Archons are now taking on those Ultras supported by Zerglings, and Nalra forced to retreat, and Oversky content to take down those gateways underneath those swarms, and he's got that Definer revving up for another swarm. Nalra, where are your Reavers? Nalra needs to bring those Reavers into play, because otherwise he's going to plague goes off this time. Instead of going for another swarm, he plagues the gateways as well as the Archons. I don't think he caught a lot of Archons, and Nalra is reinforcing that, so it looks like Nalra will be able to hold off this attack without taking too many casualties. Oversky, I think, needs to did the right thing in some senses, because he realized that Nalra's forces would be concentrated on defending his expansion, and he has now unfortunately lost a lot of his forces in that attack, but he's managed to pull Nalra away from the expansion. If he can now double back and attack that expansion, Nalra will be in a little bit of trouble. Oversky does have a lot of defenses, and Nalra coming in with that 1 shuttle. I'm not sure what is in that 1 little shuttle. It is a Reaver, and that Reaver, brilliantly, Nalra has scouted that Lurker hiding behind Oversky's main mineral line, and therefore he's taken that Reaver out. Nalra has got a decent number of defenses, and Oversky forcing, again, Oversky with the lack of any anti-air in a little bit of trouble. He can't really do anything against those Reavers. He needs some sort of anti-air, even a couple of Scourges or something hanging around to focus on. Oversky now going again for Nalra's expansion, which is the focus of Nalra's economy, but Nalra with about 4 High Templar waiting precisely for that. Nalra, brilliant in defense, manages to do some serious damage to the Ultralists. Oversky pulls them out in time, so those Ultralists survive. So good micro by Oversky, great defense by Nalra. Nalra knows that that expansion is critical. Should he lose that expansion, he will lose the game, and this game just absolutely a tipping point. I don't know who's going to win this, guy. This game is so close. Oversky has the economic advantage. Nalra's got a superior force on the ground. Oversky cannot fight Nalra face to face and win, but he's doing a good job of keeping Nalra under pressure. He's rebuilt his tech now. Finally, he's got that hive up, and so he should be coming out with some Scourges as well. He's got a Spire up as well, so we should see some Scourges from Oversky, which is really what he needs to tilt the balance in his favor. He needs to do something about those shuttles and those Reavers. Nalra has really gotten more than his money's worth. He's gotten so much profit and so much mileage out of those Reavers. Those Reavers are the new hybrid car. You've got to say those Reavers are the hybrid car for Oversky. Oversky is, perhaps I'm overestimating his economy, because that expansion at the 6 o'clock base is mined out. I think the 5 o'clock expansion must be nearly mined out as well. So that only leaves him the one at the middle left of the map in the bottom right corner, which is now coming under fire from Nalra, and Nalra with his main force. If Nalra can take out that expansion in the bottom right